The teams have had quite a break after their last GT4 European Series outing at Paul Ricard. They're all itching to get going, so are we. Welcome to Monza. It is the second event of the championship season, and qualifying, slightly delayed because of earlier dramas in the day, is ready to go. A long, long line of cars stretching all the way down the pit lane. We are about 2 minutes away from getting Q1 underway. David Addison and Joe Osborne are trackside. Monza is a wonderful lap, and for a GT4 car, there's quite a lot to do around it.
Yeah, and then add 44 of those GT4s into the mix, we're going to get a lot of action. Qualifying now, so it's all about finding space and pumping in a fast, clear lap, and it's going to help you massively when it comes to race. The further up the grid, obviously the better chance of the result, but the less chance you are of getting caught up in someone else's accident.
Well, the cars in the queue, they've had testing, they've had free practice, and the gravel is not down to them. That's down to the McLaren Trophy that's been out most recently. There, number 3 is the team speed car Audi of Vinnie Beltramelli and Sasha Bottomant. You can see the long, long line. You can see the variety as well. One man to watch in all of this, the Australian driver Cameron McLeod, who was a bit of a star in the Ford Mustang races at Le Mans last year. The support races there. He's been drafted into the Academy Motorsport team and will be very definitely a driver to watch. You've also got there the Maximilian Huber Mercedes out of the NM Racing Team stable. But so much of this in a short, sharp session is going to be about finding clear track space. And as we had at Ricard, Joe, 20 minutes per qualifying period, but halved, Silvers alone, and then the Pro-Ams and AMs on their own.
Yeah, to try and allow people to find more space, and it's worked very well, and it just sometimes favours one group more than the other. I feel it's going to be the A session that gets the benefit. Why? Because the track temp is going to be slightly lower. The track temp still rising. It's at 46 degrees right now, but also the gravel. It gets brought on here at Monza, and we've seen it every session. The more laps cars do, the more gravel gets brought on. So I think that's why the earlier session maybe has the advantage. So those silver drivers going up first.
And we'll get the cars out on track very shortly. Lots of fans present. It was very, very busy getting in this morning. It's sort of lunchtime for some. The Valentino Rossi faithful are here to watch their man in GT3. Right, green light is on at the end of the pit lane. We are in business then. The team's ready to dispatch the cars. Some will go in a line and try and find clear track space. Others are going to try to lag back and see if they can time it so when they join the racetrack, it will not be that busy ahead. And we'll see who's got the better plan. Charlie Hart, then, the British driver, is one of the first out in the number 78 McLaren. And he is joined by Yanni Stevenhedens, another of the elite motorsport McLaren drivers. Porsche represented. There's the grunt and go Mustang, Toyota Supra, Mercedes AMG, Aston Martin Vantage, Audi R8, one of the oldest cars, but still very competitive. And then you can see BMW's M4, McLaren as well, with the elite cars, the sort of oranges and lemons at the head of the pack. Charlie Hart and Yanni Stevenhedens trying to get away. Those Arturas to get away from the traffic, get out there and get on with a lap time. Only 10 minutes, remember. Yeah, and a lap time round here. I think Pole could be in the 53s, definitely in the low 54s. So a long, long lap round here. So maximum you're going to get is 5 flies. A bit of smoke coming out the back of the Academy Mustang potentially there. Hopefully nothing is too serious on that one. But yeah, you see the cars trying to find space, trying to get the tyres. Well, no tyre ovens. Ambient is high, so tyres could be ready at the end of this lap, or will they need a prep lap further eating into that 10 minutes of their time? So a lot of smoke, sorry, coming out the engine. The bottom, it looks like an old school sort of sump oil leak on that one. Just trying to see which of the two Academy cars it is. I think it's 61, which is the Nathan Van Springel car. And is it therefore going to pit at the end of the lap? Smoke stopped for now.
Yeah, I thought it might be stopped because he's off throttle. It's coming on again. Yeah. More worrying for cars behind. Is it leaking oil or anything? But it seems to be coming right out of the engine in the mid part of the Mustang. And looks like he's been given the message from the team, doesn't it, that he needs to come into pit lane.
So Andy Dean, who is the team manager for Academy Motorsport, Matt Nicol-Jones' squad, will make the call. And equally, Nathan Van Springel will be looking at the dials on the dash. It looks like he's staying out. I mean, the line coming out of the Parabolica says perhaps he's just going to go for one banker lap. This will be the first time past the pits for the team to see it and possibly smell it as well. So through he goes. Benjamin Lariche, in the meantime, the reigning champion, in number 1 Audi will be heading up towards the timing line shortly to go onto a flying lap. Very, very busy. Another of the speed car Audis slowing right down. That was the Vanni Bentramelli car, the green Audi. Replay here of the smoke. And have a look at the second yellow Toyota here that dives out from a Mustang and then very nearly collected the Mustang there going down the back straight towards the Parabolica. Bit scary.
Yeah, jostling of position, and with the slower Mustang bunching everyone up, it nearly paid a big penalty for that Supra there. But people trying to find some space. I was surprised by that speed car Audi, the 8 car there, backing up, getting space, because he was in a good place, and now he's put himself right in the mix of it. You see the cars still working hard to get their temperature in these tyres, weaving left to right, predominantly to keep the tyres clean, but then the accelerate and the brake is the way to get the temperature in. And Ibanez will be right on the money. The Mercedes and the Audi really looking strong in free practice here at Monza so far this weekend.
Ibanez got 2 third places at Paul Ricard, and he and Alex Papadopoulos together for, what, a 3rd season. So there's continuity there. Ibanez still prepping the tyres then as he goes left and right underneath the banking, underneath the bridge that takes the banked oval circuit across the top of the current Monza configuration, and then gently down towards the Ascari chicane that's been catching out many over the course of the day.
And you can see why. You can hear the gravel being flicked up by Ibanez. That gets dragged back onto the circuit behind him. But look at this, cars still haven't set a representative lap time. We've nearly had half the session by the time they'll start their first push, and a lot of cars still not in a good space. There's going to be a lot of people tripping over each other, traffic on their push laps.
Right, times do start to come, and the quickest of them initially from Enrico Federer, who was a winner in the first race, remember, at Paul Ricard. And he was 3 seconds up on the number 2 Bas Visser driven Porsche at the end of that initial lap. So yes, a first lap, a banker lap put in, but I think the times are going to come down. Nathan van Springel in the meantime in Mustang 61 staying out, so there seems to be a lack of concern all round about that. It's when it goes bang they'll worry.
Yeah, and go-karts, you always knew your engine was about to explode because it went a little bit faster just before it had its final hurrahs, and maybe a Mustang V8 is the same. But yeah, he's got to get a lap on the board. Maybe the team just thinking that's the play here, is to get something on the board and then manage the problem.
There is Bas Visser then in one of those gorgeous-looking Cayman 718 GT4 RSCSs coming out of the first of the Lesmo Benz, then 3rd in the times now because Tudor Tudoracci has gone slightly better in the Audi number 310. And this is just half the field. It shows you how competitive silver is, doesn't it? Because this in itself is a 23-strong class. That'll be a great race in isolation.
Yeah, it really would. And such an important sort of proving ground for young drivers. GT4 in its 10th season now, but the Silver's able here to really show their worth and show themselves on the same stage as the GT3 team. So it's such an easy, natural progression for these young, aspiring pros.
Enrique Federer, Paul Ricard winner, looking good. Now, Ginetta top because Jack Mitchell has gone fastest. Jack, who was at Alton Park last week in British GT, he's done a 1:55.187. There's a good sector time coming up from Benjamin Lariche as well. Let's just get Federer over the line first up, because that should put him back to the top of the times, and it does on a 54.6. Then Yanni Stevenhagen goes better for McLaren, 1:54.3. But this man, Benjamin Lariche, absolute best sector 1, absolute best sector 2. The reigning champions, and it took them a long time, Benjamin Lariche and Robert Consani. They were out of luck at Paul Ricard, but let's see what they can do here. Coming up towards the timing line then, the Audi currently dropping to 13th in the times, but it's about to go leaping back up. Can all the cherries align on the fruit machine? The answer is yes. 3 purple sectors, job done. Benjamin Lariche to the top of the times by 0.886 of a second. Really good effort.
What a lap. He had no traffic at all, did he? Car looked good. He was quite narrow coming into the Parabolica. Same here, he's turning in early, which normally would illustrate you've got some oversteer. You want to try and nurse the car into the apex without it snapping round, but the number 1 goes 1 after what felt like a tough opening round at Paul Ricard.
Totally agree. At the foot of the times, it's currently Henry Jocelyn, the former British single-seater racer in the Toyota. He has now improved, so that puts him up to 16th in the times, which are shuffling almost as every car comes through. There are track limit warnings, and there are also cancellation of lap times. Ruben Del Sart's Toyota has just had its lap time taken off him, so Del Sart drops to 23rd and last in the class. Way up the curb there goes 77, which is the Yanni Stevenhagen's McLaren. Behind him, he's got Charlie Hart in 78. Third generation of racer is Charlie. Dad has done quite a bit of Fun Cup racing. Granddad used to be a truck racer of good speed, and Charlie coming out of Ginetta Juniors into the GT4 route. But this is the 77 sister car that Janne Stevenheidens drives, and he is trying to find nearly a full second to get top.
Yeah, I thought he was going to box it, keep it very tight on exit. It's a bit of a simulator trick, that, the short distancing, but both McLarens doing it. And yeah, Charlie Hart's slightly behind on track and slightly behind, but yeah, 5th place for Charlie. And here is Gregory Gilbert. The car was going very slow at the start. It's almost a lap behind everyone. Yeah. He's going to have time for one more lap after this, but this lap is an improvement on his current 5th place.
And then there'll be that crossover point where the Pro-Ams and AMs are released, and these cars complete their in-lap and box. And then we do it all over again in the second session with a separate driver aboard. Up towards the timing line, then comes Greg Gilbert. It's looking good. Is it good enough? It could be the front row, but inside or outside, first or second. He heads towards the beam, goes through Greg Gilbert, goes second then, so it's an all-speed car Audi front row, and he's still giving away over half a second to Lariche.
Yeah, what a lap it was from Lariche as we look. Another Audi, this time of Tudoraci, and he's coming out the last corner. Middle sector wasn't great. I think this is going to be somewhere on the 2nd or 3rd row for him in the 310 Willie Motorsport car. Crosses the line. 11th, awful sector 3 as well. So is that the tyre done? Because sector 1 was good, sector 2 was okay, sector 3 terrible.
And here coming up towards the Ascari chicane is Enrico Federer, who was quick early on. Paul Ricard Race 1 winner coming now out of the Ascari chicane. Federer sharing with Cedric Fuchs, both of whom look good at Ricard, but Federer probably was the quicker of the two. Behind, look, the yellow-nosed McLaren. Janne Stevenheidens has done an absolute best middle sector, but he was a little bit down in the first. So there's the chance of an improvement here for Stevenheidens, but we'll see. He comes then down towards the Parabolica, fights the car in. Again, there's not much aero on a GT4 car, so the driver having to do quite a lot of the hard work. Charlie Hart behind, looking to try to improve as well. Up towards the line then, Federer will go by, and he's up to 4th. Stevenheidens will go through, and he is up to 2nd onto the front row. And then there's Charlie Hart to go through as well. And Charlie Hart's 6th fastest now. This is the number 68 Mustang you can see in the hands of the American driver Sam Paley. And from 11th, as he comes through now, up to 7th fastest.
Yeah, and takes the checkered flag, so that's his final chance. So he's done well to go there. Van Springle has boxed a lap earlier than everyone, so it'll be interesting to see if that car is okay as we watch Jack Mitchell still on an improved lap. P9 at the moment, good middle sector, right on the dust there, trying to open up the corner. You can see the car starting to squirm under braking. He's made it through Ascari, one more break to go at the Parabolica. What can Jack Mitchell do? He's been rapid so far in British GT this year, as well as being a fast driver. He's running to all the circuits in British GT in aid of charity, so check that out. It's an amazing thing he's doing. Yeah. Luckily for him, he's not running to Monza. All he has to worry about now is running to the finish line to see what this lap will be.
He's running to all the circuits for British GT that are in Britain. For some reason, he feels not the need to run to Spa. However, it's a great task. Well done, Jack Mitchell, and let's see what this task translates to. 9th, he stays, actually, doesn't go any quicker. He's got Georgi Dimitrov as his co-driver, and Georgi's a quick Brit, came out of Formula 4 through Lamborghini Super Trofeo last year. Replay of Ruben Del Sart, who finally did get a lap time 20th, but masses of curb being used into the chicane there. Yeah, the Toyota has always been able to ride the curb really well. There is a track limit camera looking at turn 1. He must have been right on the edge of that as he used the curb to help rotate the car and then run up all the way to the gravel trap on the exit of 2 as well. So it's time for a driver switch, ready for Q2 in the silver cars, but now it's the Pro-Ams and the AMs that are on track, and a little bit of discussion about what the car feels like, what the circuit feels like. However, all eyes still on the circuit because it gets very busy. Now, don't think, by the way, that silvers start at the front and the other classes behind. Think British GT, that's how you operate GT3 and GT4. But here, because it's all the same spec of car, they're all GT4, you merge the classes. So it could be that even if, like, let's take Colin Cronin as the example, 23rd, slowest in silver, he could end up starting 33rd if some of these Pro-Am cars get even faster. So these will now blend into the original 23 and certainly shuffle the order a great deal.
Yeah, massively so. And we look at Hendrik still here, still working the tyres. So it seems like all the cars want this outlap +1 to get the tyres in their operating window, bringing them up to around 85, 90 degrees Celsius is their working window as we chase still into turn 1. You can see here he's missing the curbs on purpose. When the tyre pressure is low, you don't have the support and the structure, and you can damage the tyre. So drivers will stay off the curbs until they get to probably 1.6, 1.7 bar, and then it's max attack. And any sort of thought about looking after the car goes out the window, and you throw everything at it.
Great shot from the drone as well, coming out of the chicane. So Hendrik Still, who is the pro in that Pro-Am entry. In other words, he could well be fighting for an outright pole position, not just a class pole. He's that good. You can see some of the cars behind, including the Lotuses. We've got 2 of the Lotus Emiras in the championship this year. You've got the BMWs as well. We didn't see very much out of BMW in the earlier session. The Borusan cars not really coming alive. So is that telling us that Monza is not a BMW track? It was good for Audi and McLaren, they the front row cars.
Yeah, you definitely say that. There's Toyota struggling a little bit as well. Mitchell, the fastest Ginetta, down in 9th. The Fords are in the mix, aren't they? And the Aston Martin of Garcia. I think that was who we were looking at in pit lane, actually handing over to Clement Seiler for his session. But so far, so good.
So there the Lotus leaping over the curbs. The 2 cars from Lotus PB Racing, Stefano D'Aste, Massimo Abati in 26. Hendrik Still on the lights then as he comes now down to the Parabolica. And as he does so, he's got only 5 3/4 minutes of the session to go. Time flies by here.
Especially when you're having fun. These Lotuses, their home circuit, of course, under PB Racing. The car's built in Hethel, UK Norfolk, but PB Racing based in Italy, and doing a huge amount of Lotus racing with their Lotus Cup Italy and Europe as well. So massive Lotus fans there at PB, and we've seen that car be so fast at times as well.
Yeah, exactly right. So over the timing line go Stefano D'Aste and the sister car, number 56, currently in the hands of Massimiliano Schiavone. That's D'Aste, who, if you go back, probably getting on for 20 years now, was a racer in the World Touring Car Championship for Oregon. He was a Alfa Romeo racer. He also drove in the Renault Megane V6 Trophy, which was a spectacular series, and he was spectacular in that as well. The Lotus has been competitive and should be again around here. A lot of support for those cars. And at the end of this lap, we'll start to see exactly where they start to blend into the mix. Anything in the 53s and 54s will get them up to the pointy end of the grid.
Yeah, just looking at the sectors for Still and these 2 Lotuses, they're 4/10 off the fastest sector 1. That was done by the Silvers. D'Aste with a lot of oversteer. Saw it turn 1, just seen it at Lesmo 1. We go on board with him now. So as the car turns in, oversteers when the rear wants to overtake the front. And it's a real nerving thing for the driver because it's the start of a spin. So you have to actually have to put the steering in the opposite way. You have to turn into the slide. If you ever watch the Cars movie, like McQueen gets a good education on it, and it's just hard to carry the speed, especially in qualifying on new tyre. You tend to pick up understeer, so this is a bit of a balance issue. You can see D'Aste working hard behind the wheel. Is he going to be able to keep it flat through the last part of Ascari? He is, and now this is the run. But to me, the Porsche in front of Still is pulling away, and his teammate, in fact, is getting closer to the rear.
So down to the Parabolica goes D'Aste. He's got Schiavone behind him, and who else ought we to be looking for in this? This is Victor Bouveng's BMW, and the fastest thus far in Pro-Am, racing in the championship for the first time for a long time, if at all. Yes, back in 2021. Ricardo Pera is the quickest, the same Ricky Pera that races in GT World, races in the WEC, and making a welcome return to GT4 in the Abbey Motors Porsche. He was the fastest in class. Hendrik Still has now gone quicker. And Charlie Robertson's McLaren that he shares with Ravi Ramyeed up to 6th overall. First flying lap. Charlie Robertson new to the car this year, but there shines quality. If you can drive anything.
Yeah, it was a late switch as well, wasn't it, from BMW to McLaren, so him and his teammate Ravi Ramyeed didn't get the pre-season they wanted, but at the moment have a nice gap of 4 cars between him and the next Pro-Am of Hendrik Still, who isn't improving in Sector 1 at the moment. Robertson does look like he's going to get some traffic, unfortunately, on this next lap, potentially.
There's the Meloni family BMW and Porsche versus Mercedes together. That is Charlie Robertson. for many, many years associated with Ginetta, finally broke free and drove with Ravi Ramid in BMWs in GT4 last year. They've decided to go the McLaren route. As Joe rightly says, it was a late decision, so late switch to go to Elite. So a new car for them to adapt to, but Charlie Robertson proving that he is very, very good no matter what you put him in. For some reason, he doesn't quite get the recognition he deserves.
No, I think he's starting to get more on the radar now as he's going through the ranks of motorsport, but for sure he's a rapid kid. I wonder if he's going to get a track limit for turn 5 through the second chicane. He cut so much of the curve. The car took it well, but you've got to keep one wheel on the track or the white line, and for me he was a bit too greedy with the curb. He's now getting held up by the Aston, but look at the gap he's got behind. I expect him potentially to back out of this to get space on the next lap, but his sectors are so good it might be a hard call to make.
And Benny Beltramelli looking good as well, isn't he, with an absolute best sector and a purple and a personal best sector. There's the number 55 Toyota through, which is the Brunhagen family car. Christopher Brunhagen on his first lap to get a time. Let's see what Charlie Robertson can do as he comes up towards the timing line now then. 6th, he was 6th, he stays down in the last sector. And then there's the Beltramelli Audi that we need to just tick off the list as well, because that car is on its way up towards the timing line. Look in the background, we're looking for another Audi, which have proved to be good around here. Up towards the line it will come, and lost time in the last sector, stays 14th. So all of that potential came undone.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it would have been affected by traffic, so potentially mistake or the tyre dropping off. He's still pushing hard into turn 1. The Audi, it seems, unable to use the amount of curve that the Toyota, Porsche and even the McLaren can use. Here's Ricky Perez already being out this morning, hasn't he? He was actually going through the gravel trap at Ascari when there was a couple of spinners in front of him. So he's had a good morning to wake up. And at the moment, he's having to transition between GT3 and GT4, which is no mean feat. Very different driving styles.
And like quite a lot of sports car drivers, big races on the horizon in the next few months. Not only, of course, Le Mans, but also the CrowdStrike 24 Hours of Spa 2 weeks after that. So the summer months bringing plenty of mileage. Ricardo Perez, then Ricky Perez down towards the Parabolica. He's 17th overall, which is now 6th in class, and you could argue that he ought to be a little bit higher up than that, because other Porsches, like Hendrik Still's example, have proved they can do it, but this also has the potential of being a better lap for Perez. He comes now up towards the timing line, and the improvement beckons. He's up to 17th in the times, but that still doesn't really help him in class. Checkered flag.
No, it was the last sector that went away because it was 2 greens, and it looked okay from the outside, but he lost 6/10 in the last sector, and that's where the time went. Robertson did do a green sector 1, but now isn't improving in 2. And you can see the Porsche's trying to work and get a slipstream off him. It's Helstein in front, and again, it looks like the car's gone away from him, doing well to get out of the way of the other Porsche at the moment. Same with the Lotus of D'Aste, and yeah, everyone doing a good job of not impeding each other.
So the fast lane is now open for Q2A. In other words, the cars for the next bit of qualifying way off the racetrack there. Coming through the first of the 2 Lesmo Benz. The Ginetta bouncing back onto the circuit, but that was quite a moment for Hugo Mojica. Could have been a lot worse. Right, Ricardo Perez, I think, got through just before the checkered flag, didn't he?
Yeah, huge snap of oversteer there for him, though, so it'll be interesting to see if he finishes this lap. The rear tyre definitely looks like it's dropped away from him now, and yeah, shows you the competitive nature of GT4 as someone with the experience and calibre and speed of Perez all the way down in 19th overall.
Gives the curb a heck of a whack coming into the Ascari chicane. Eddie Motors, a very long-standing Porsche team, been running in different GT categories for 3 decades or so. Down to the Parabolica he comes. Sector 1 was good, Sector 2 was good, so Ricardo Perez trying to wring everything out of it in this last sector before he gives the car over to Paolo Ganemi for the second part of qualifying. Perez through the Parabolica, and then up towards the timing line he will come. The timing line, the control line, closer to pit in, whereas the start is closer to pit out, and he will break the beam now. And the net result for Ricardo Perez is a slight improvement, 1 place on the grid.
Yeah, Sector 3 doesn't seem to have to match his best. Sector 1 and 2 were improvements, and yes, ends up 17th overall, 1.2 seconds off the fastest 6th in class.
So a good effort all the same for Ricardo Perro, having not been in a GT4 European Series event for 5 years, and having been out on track, as Joe was saying, in GT3 machinery, just trying to readapt to a GT4 car. But he did, of course, have yesterday in which to do some testing. And as you hover over the Monza circuit, you can see the external roads and everything around the circuit. That's up towards the second chicane. Bryn Lucas is in the pit lane. He's found our pole sitter, Benjamin Lariche.
You just said to me the first cap that you've got this season, and you need this. You need a decent result this weekend to get you back on where you need to be for the championship.
Yeah, sure. Because in Castellet we had some technical problems, so we lost a lot of points. So now in Monza, which is my favorite track, I think, because I think my biggest quality is to brake late. And here it's very important. And on the new tires, I succeed to put in the first lap on the peak of the tires my best driving. So yes, it's a third pole position in Monza. It's mean a lot because yes, I love this track.
You're in perfect position. Well done. Go and rest up. Well done.
Cheers. Thank you.
Top work by Benjamin Lariche, and this is how we look at the end of the first part of qualifying. So Benjamin Lariche and Yannis Stevenheiden is up the front row. A brilliant effort by Vinny Beltramelli at the end to go third to top Pro-Am ahead of Greg Gilbert, then Pedro Garcia from Enrico Federer and Charlie Robertson. Cameron McLeod did go well, went 8th ahead of Sam Paley and then Charlie Hart. Jack Mitchell 11th from Hendrik Still. Hudson Schwartz, who was another star on the podium at Paul Ricard and Bas Visser. Alon Gabay, Edwin Helstein from Ricardo Perro. Then it was Max Schiavone, Max Kronberg and Julien Apotelos, who we've seen in GT World in the past in GT3 Porsches. Tudor Tudorache was 21st ahead of Hugo Mojica. Luke Ibanez a long way back in the end, 23rd from Tamas Guedes and then David Kuhlmann. Stefano Daste was 26th, and a little bit further down the order you get, without a lap time, the Brunhagen Toyota. So, we're already underway for Q2, cars on track. That sorts out the grid for the first race. Q2 here at Monza is underway. So, same cars, different drivers, and they've had about 10 minutes just to tweak tire pressures, have a word about what the car may be like or any advice on track, but there's not really very much the teams have been able to do between those two sessions.
No, you can maybe change the roll bar just to help with the car if the teammate has said that's what it needs. Tire pressure adjustment, of course, but yeah, that #1 speed car, that lap from Lariche, seriously quick. That's the fastest lap we've ever had in qualifying around here, so the benchmark has properly been set by the Frenchman.
So now Robert Consani takes over that car, and we'll see what he can do. So same principle, it is the silvers out first, the silver cap entries out for the first part of the qualifying session, and then we will see where the Pro-Ams and the Ams blend into it. Already looking rapid is Cedric Fuchs taking over from Enrico Federer. There, coming up towards us, is Robert Consani, who along with Benjamin Lariche won this championship after many years of trying last year. And Robert Consani has managed to find himself a lot of clear track space.
Yeah, they've got the advantage of being towards pit exit, haven't they, with where they're based. And the other advantage this Q2 has is that the car is already very hot. Those brakes will radiate the heat into the tyres, so they will start with a better tyre pressure than the Q1 drivers, obviously with cold brakes and brand new tyres. So potentially able to turn the car on quicker. And now we've got the AMs that will be out in Q2B. Expect the end of this session to be dominated by the silver drivers that are currently on track.
So got the cars then for the second 20-minute period, and there the Audi making its way towards us in the hands of Robert Consani, with everybody doing green sectors on their first lap. So understandable, there's nothing really to base this against as yet, but we'll see whether or not this remains the fastest car. All the Audis have been looking pretty decent. They're up towards the timing line. Comes then Consani, and he will break the beam. And as he goes through now, this is on to a flying lap. And as he does so, the clock has just 6 minutes of his part of qualifying to go. Those that were out earlier now completing a installation lap, as it were. So Cedric Fuchs, Clement Seiler, Lucas Cartel, they've all gone by. So also now has number 29, which is the Max Bostrom Toyota. Not the Max Bostrom of designing Group C cars fame, but we'll see now what other teams can offer up over the course of this session. There are the Borusan BMWs, Borusan Automotive. Jagish Gaidik in 11, Gabriele Piana in 12. Piana, you can never discount, can you?
No, but cutting across the white line, fully off the track, race control won't like that. And potentially, it's not a track limit area, but because it was on our pictures, race control can use them. So you've got to keep that one wheel on the white line. And yeah, for me, the lead car, the 12 car there of Piana, just cutting it too much, too greedy.
Piana has won this championship in the past. He's won the German championship as well, the ADAC championship. So he is regarded as one of the best GT4 drivers around, but increasingly competitive in GT3 and sort of trying to prove to people, I'm not just a GT4 specialist, I can drive other things, you know. And he's now a key part of a Winward Racing GT3 bronze cap entry. The touring car style M4s using all the curves as they work together through the Ascari, through the Roggia chicane, sort of hunting in a pack here, aren't they, with 4 minutes and change on the clock.
Yeah, smart move. You'd say Piana's just got the pace over Gedic, and it just gives Gedic a good target to follow the carrot of Piana there. And unfortunately for Gedic, just dropped it on the exit. Piana's getting on the lights to try and warn the Porsche. They're on a lap and does a good job of getting out the way.
So at the moment, Cedric Fuchs is the quicker from Robert Consani, but that changes as Lucas Cartel's Toyota goes up to second. There, diving down to the Ascari chicane then is Jagish Gedic. But Gabriele Piana aboard number 12 comes storming up towards the Parabolica. Paul Petit, number 8, the Audi he shares with Greg Gilver. He's just gone fastest. So the BMWs here needing to find something as they come towards the Parabolica. But look at the lap that Piana particularly is starting to string together. It's decent sector times. Replay here down at the Rettifilo chicane of the Toyota launching itself up the curb.
Yeah, he actually hit the wrong part of the curb. He hit the highest point, the process there of the sausage. Normally try and get behind it, so that's why it looks so violent.
That was the Maximilian Bostrom car. There is Robert Consani, who is down to 7th, surprisingly, but he has just done the absolute best first sector. So again, Consani running in fresh air, nobody around him to get in the way. That means he doesn't get a tow, but he doesn't have to worry about being impeded either.
Yeah, comes through sector 2 now. It's going to be a strong lap, this one, isn't it? Is it going to get him into the 53s? There's a 53.4. His teammate of Lariche did. Uses the curb nice through Ascari. There's one corner to go. Such a long lap here at Monza, but you only touch the brake 6 times. So it really does emphasize the corners you've got to brake for. You can't afford a mistake.
Down to the Parabolica he comes then, heading to the right-hander. He will loop his way around that long right and then accelerate up towards the timing line. Absolute best sector 1, personal best sector 2. 8th years in the time. Cedric Fuchs then is behind and looking good in the number 111 Mercedes. So let's get Constantine across the line. He goes on to pole position provisionally. What about Cedric Fuchs in the Mercedes? He takes it back as he comes across the line. The margin between them, 0.204 of a second. Constantine was on pole for just a handful of seconds.
It really was brutal, wasn't it? Fuchs was able to see him all the way around as well, so would have been able to realise he's probably pulled in a car length and a half, at 2/10 worth of that. Petit's going to cross the line now. It wasn't a fast sector 1, so I don't expect this to be at the sharp end. But interesting there, the losses in sector 1 and 3, but purple sector 2.
Pit exit closed then because the fast lane's open for the Pro-Ams and the AMs. The silver session nearly at an end as there is the Georgi Dimitrov Ginetta coming down towards us. That's the car that Jack Mitchell was driving. Dimitrov is 8th. He really did star in Super Trofeo last year. Coming now then down through the Ascari chicane. He's raced single-seaters and coming into multi-mark GT racing this season.
At the moment, you say this lap's good enough to put him inside the top 6, maybe even slightly higher than that, depending on how the last sector goes. Ginetta slightly too far away from the Willie Motorsport Audi to get a slipstream. You can see he's hard on the brakes there. Rear of the car squirreling, but he's got it stopped. He should get a good exit.
Up to the timing line he comes then. So Georgi Dimitrov Top 6 beckons, Joe reckons, and he will break the beam and go 5th. Good shout, so good effort as well by Georgi Dimitrov into the top 5 right now, meaning you've got Mercedes AMG from Audi, Ford, Michael Haverens 4th, then it's Ginetta 5th, and the best McLaren is Harry Reynolds 6th. Now, what can Constantini do? We know that he can get it onto pole position, but he needs to keep it there. Again, absolute best sector 1. Personal best in sector 2. The time he's got to beat is a 1:53.977, and as he will break the beam now, Constantini is back to the top, 1:53.459. Behind him, though, is Cedric Fuchs, who is this time a fraction slower. So team speed car number 1 Audi should be on for a double pole here.
Yeah, phenomenal lap. Hooked it all the way up, and the tyres staying there with him as well. Fuchs unable to improve as we look at the McLaren here of Reynolds. It was a purple sector 2, but it's like him backing out of it coming into the Parabolica, and that's the reason why. Pushed too hard for Ascari, car got loose, had to cut across the inside. Has he got time to prep for another lap? He does not. He'll be coming into pit lane.
Right, so Harry Reynolds has done, and the circuit now is at that crossover point. We've got a Toyota rejoining out of the chicane there. That was Lucas Cartel, who's had a moment. 8th in the times is Cartel. So now the Silvers finishing their lap, including Borusan Automotive. Those BMWs have not really come alive. Piana 16th, then he goes through, Gedik actually gets ahead of him on that lap. So Piana 17th, Gedik 16th, and look at this for a crowded house coming down to the chicane. But those BMs, just nowhere, are they?
They looked okay, didn't they? Dynamically, they were hitting the right line, so yeah, they'll go back to the drawing board. Of course, the balance of performance is always discussed from drivers, from teams, and it will be addressed like SRO always do. When they look at the data, they can see the parameters the cars are sat in. Interestingly, the lap time between the pole laps so far, as we see the Toyota hitting that curb even harder, that's the best one we've seen. You could fit a lot of space underneath that Toyota. I actually wonder if the driver thought he was going over there. Might have had to turn a bit left to bring the right side tyres back down. But interestingly, between the Audis, Constantini is 1500ths quicker than Lariche, so he has now the fastest lap we've ever seen in GT4 qualifying.
Bragging right to go with it as well, don't they? So the Pro-Ams and the AMs are onto the circuit now, and the Silvers ending their session. But the Pro-Ams are still going to get through the traffic, haven't they? They can't afford to sit there and just wait for the Silvers to pit. They've got to get track position. Yeah,
and they've got to get their elbows out once more. Just to show some math off, that 1500ths round here is 74 centimetres of difference. So the 5.7 kilometres, Constantini would only be 70 centimetres in front of his teammate Lariche if you overlaid those laps. That's how close they were. Great teammate, and that's why they are reigning champions.
Absolutely right. Robert Constantini, who came from rallying, and Benjamin Lariche, single-seater racer initially, many, many years ago, had a spell in the MSV era of running Formula 2. And now we concentrate on those Pro-Ams and AMs as they come up towards their final 10 minutes of the session. There you've got Joachim Bolting in the Porsche, second in this queue here, weaving around a little bit to get warmth into the tyres. He's taken that car over from Hendrik Still.
Yeah, he was one of our standout AMs last year as a car shot through the background there. Someone's gone straight on. Was it one of the Lotuses? As the Porsche goes in the gravel, it's all kicking off now, and you can see a yellow car anyway rejoining somewhere there. I think it's the 26 car, which is the PB Lotus car of now Massimo Abati aboard it.
Florent Grisot's Aston Martin you're looking at, coming up towards the second chicane. He's switched to the Racing Spirit of Le Mans team this year with David Kuhlmann, having driven for the GPA Racing squad in seasons past. So Florent Grisot goes through, and the clock still showing 6.5 minutes, give or take, of this final part of GT4 qualifying. The cars do race today, not until 5:25, so temperatures will be dipping a little bit at the end of the day.
Yeah, you can see the Mercedes there on their in-lap trying to get out of the way, but potentially going to impede the Aston Martin. I think it's Fuchs as well. That could detract penalty. It's definitely put 72 off, and that is a poor, poor job from the Mercedes. They were trying to get out of the way, and they eventually got in the way in the worst possible place.
So they make the run now down to the Parabolica, and Robert Consani set for pole. But the other intrigue of all of this is to see how far up the order some of these Pro-Am cars can get. Pro-Am honours at Paul Ricard, Victor Bouveng and Joachim Walder the first race. Daniel Drexel and Chris Sulkeld won the second. Chris Sulkeld is in this session. They got that even with a penalty, didn't they? They got that win because the other cars around them had even more draconian penalties. So right now it is Joachim Bolting who is the fastest in Pro-Am from Florent Grisot. And then it is number 31, Porsche, next of Tim Horrell. Right, so you're on board now with 26. This is the Lotus being hustled around by Massimo Abati.
Beautiful car, lucky enough to drive this car, so I know it well. Supercharged V6 Toyota engine in the back, screaming along. Great on the brakes. The gearbox does struggle sometimes to go down the gear, so you see the flashing lights on the right side of the dash is telling the driver the rear axle is locked, and be careful that you don't spin the car. Lots of torque of this car. The chassis phenomenal, like all Lotuses. Very lightweight, very stiff, very agile. Able to get the car into Lesmo one slightly off the apex curve. Looks like understeer this time. Last time we were on board in the sister car with Diaste, he had lots of oversteer, so looks like maybe a different setup between the sister cars here. Now we thunder along this never quite straight kink as we dive underneath the old banking. You've got to spot your braking point for Ascari. 150-meter board is good. It's the second board on your right. 200 meters, 150 brake. Gravel in the distance by the looks of it. All over the curb. Second gear, hard on the throttle. Try and keep it flat now around the left kink. Not to short shift as well. It's tempted as a driver just to settle the car down and shift up earlier. The problem is you drop out the torque and you lose straight line performance. One more corner to go for Abati. We're on our best lap at the moment, braking at 100 meters now. Fourth gear normally for the car, third for the Lotus. Just struggling obviously to get the car to rotate. The lower gear helps the car turn, and that seems what they need there. Now up to fourth, coming across the line any second now. It's going to be somewhere in the 57s, 57.1. Takes them 27th overall at the moment, but more importantly, they're fifth in class. And you get the exterior shot of it, braking, car staying very flat under braking. This was the car we think went straight on at turn one, so that was probably driver just trying to find his limits. There's not always a bad way to find your brake reference for a corner here at Monza. If you just brake too late and you go straight on, you can quickly get where you should have broken, rather than always braking slightly too early and edging up to it. Sometimes better to go way over the mark and then work it back from there. Here at chicane 2, you have to be a little bit more careful because it is a slightly less runoff area, so you potentially can get an issue. As we now look at the car, Joachim Bolting here coming into Lesmo number 2.
Another one that's going quickly is the Audi of Julien Ripper, which is now not only the best of the AMs, but ahead of the Pro-Ams, 13th overall, which is quite spectacular. Still got some times to get out of the couple, one of which is the Brunhagen Toyota again that seems to be struggling. And Chris Solkeld is the slowest of those that's actually done a lap times. Way up the curb is Bolting as he comes through the chicane, but Solkeld's going to be a man to watch here. Winner, as we say, last time out at Paul Ricard, but a long way down at the minute. Yeah,
you'd say problem with the car. 8.2 seconds off pole, 3.2 off the car in front of him. And yeah, you have to say, Julien Ripper is the hero. He's improving as well. You look at the names behind him. He's the bronze-rated driver. Remember the amateur. Look at some of the names and the scalps he's taken in that silver class.
Mighty effort. No question about it then, as up towards the line comes Joachim Bolting. Good first sector, not so good in the second. And let's see what he can do then. Joachim Bolting, 31st overall when he came up towards the line, 28th then, and now back down to 29th because people are going quicker behind him. He's got one more lap to squeeze out of this. That's Ripper.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what this lap's going to be. This lap is going to be, what do I think? I'm going to guess, I'm going to go P8 overall. I'll let you correct me now, David.
Let's see, because it's all looking good, sectors 1 and 2, and unless time is wasted in 3, he will go through and go 7th. So, you know, you were close.
Sold him short. I should have backed him more, shouldn't I?
But that is a mighty effort from Julien Ripper, number 44 Audi, proving that those cars are really good around here. Ripper, intriguingly, is a soloist. So why couldn't he have done this in Q1? Where was he in that session?
It shows you the positive of being a solo driver. You get 2 bites of the cherry.
True.
He learned from what he could do in Q1 on the new tyre. Then that tyre drops off. He now has that knowledge and another new set of tyres.
So the flag is imminent. We're into the last minute before the checkered flag flies, and they're going through another of the BMWs now in the Pro-Am situation. Joachim Walder, 27th in his BMW, the Meloni family car. Now Paolo Meloni, 32nd, and Onder Erdem, 35th. Onder Erdem, we had a off from, didn't we, in the GT2 session. He was out in a KTM and went off at the first chicane. So undaunted, good to see him back on track.
Yeah, that's what I'm sure I recognised the name from not that long ago. That was in the wall pretty hard at turn 1 at over 200 kilometres an hour. The Audi all over the curb. Then the Audi seems to look after its tyre as well, because this car is still on a fast lap. P11 at the moment for Bottomani, number 3. We're going to come through sector 2. Would it be green? He'll hope it is, because this is his last chance of it. It's yellow. It's not an awful lap though, so this is probably worth finishing at the moment, and this could get him inside the top 10 if the final sector is quick and clean.
Right up to the line, then that car will come. Sasha Bottoman looking good. Flag is out, and that means now that nobody can creep back out other than under instruction to go back to the paddock. Bottoman comes through the Parabolica. Julien Ripper is still out there, but he's not going any quicker, but Bottoman may do. This is the car that he's taken over from Vanni Beltramelli, and 9th for Sasha Bottoman. So that is an improvement of 2 places. Another good effort.
Yeah, and then the cars flooding out. Don't be worried, they are the cars going back to pit lane because qualifying is done. But yeah, really good job by Bottoman there to haul the car inside the top 10 right at the last as well. So some very fast Audi AM drivers out there in this Q2B session.
All of which makes for 2 intriguing grids, doesn't it? The first race for these cars will be, as we say, at the end of the day, 5:25, with Enrico Federer and Cedric Fuchs, the winners of the opening race at Paul Ricard. The second race there going the way of Lucas Cartel and Hudson Schwartz, with Victor Bouveng, Joachim Walder in one race, and then Daniel Drexel and Chris Salkelt in the other as your Pro-Am winners. And the AM honours, Julien Brichet and Nico Farrarin, from the opening weekend, but they have been upgraded now from AM to Pro-Am. So good were they?
Yeah, it's quite a nice compliment to be given, but annoying in chance of getting a trophy. But again, SRO not just controlling the BOP of the cars, it's almost the BOP of the drivers as well, linked to their driver grading based on experience, age, and a few other factors.
All of which makes sense, doesn't it? Rather than giving anybody a huge chance. So let's have a quick look at the order then at the end of Q2. Robert Consony, the fastest from their main rival seemingly at the moment, the Mercedes driven by Cedric Fuchs, then Paul Petit from Mackenzie Cresswell and Michael Haverens, Georgi Dimitrov in 6th. Class poles then to Robert Consony, to Julien Ripper from AM, an amazing 7th, and in Pro-Am, Sasha Bottoman in 9th. And cars further down, the Crodin brothers with work to do, Daniel Drexel and Chris Salkelt with some work to do as well, suggesting a problem with that car. Nice jumbled grid. It's going to lend us to an interesting race tomorrow in GT4, but we'll go to the pits next because Robert Consony taking a pole position like his teammate did. That means he gets the joy of talking to Bryn Lucas.
Robert, magnifique. What a great performance for you, and it's exactly what you needed, yourself and your teammate pole positions for the races.
Yeah, thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm very happy because we missed the first round at home in the circuit of the Castellet, and you work very hard during the 2 rounds, and I'm very happy because you work hard, and the result now is very good.
And the number 1 on your car puts the added pressure on you. Well done.
Thank you, thank you.
So well done, Robert Consony and Benjamin Lariche, the Audi, the car to beat seemingly around the Temple of Speed here, the Monza Autodrome, and proof of how quick the cars are, evinced by Julien Ripper as well, taking that remarkable AM pole, 7th overall. So, race 1, 5:25 this evening, and race 2 tomorrow. But it's a day dominated thus far by Audis. It was a very busy circuit when the GT4 European Series cars made their way out on track, with Greg Gilbert looking rapid early doors. So too was Yanni Stevenheidens for Elite Motorsport with the McLaren. But Q1 was all about Benjamin Lariche, who threaded the Audi through the chicane and was heading for pole position. Hendrik Still was amongst the quickest in Pro-Am, but it was a very busy circuit. Charlie Robertson also was very rapid as he tried to get himself into contention, and so too was the number 3 SRO Motorsports Audi that kept delivering decent lap times right to the very end. Q2 was equally jumbled, with getting a clear lap being absolutely essential, and it looked as though Cedric Fuchs had timed it to perfection. He got the Schnitzelau Mercedes to the top of the times, only for Robert Constantine to put that Audi, number 1, right up at the top on his next lap. With it, Constantine set an unofficial lap record around here, the fastest ever qualifying lap. Sacha Botterman heading for Pro-Am pole, Julien Rupert 7th overall for Am. Audi's then locking out the 3 classes in GT4.